Hi everyone, welcome to another video. This one is part of the July 2025 Altenew Release Video Hop. So once again, you'll have the chance to win some beautiful Altenew products by commenting on this and all the other Altenew Hop videos. And I have them all linked for you in the captions. And now back to today's project. It's a super simple pop-up mechanism that you can use with whatever products you have at home. Here I'm starting out with a 12 by 3 centimeter strip of cardstock. However, you can easily adjust the length depending on the size of your card base. To turn this strip into our pop-up mechanism, we first have to do some scoring, starting with a long score line at 1 centimeter at the short side. This one goes across all of the strip from one side to the other. By the way, you can of course do all of this scoring with your scoring board, but for me, scoring rather small pieces is just easier with my ruler and a stylus. Next, we need a score line on the long side at 2 centimeters. Once again, crossing the whole strip from one end to the other. The next score line is at 4 centimeters, but it's also enough if you just mark it. And now we have to connect the upper right corner of our strip with the crossing point of the first two score lines. So we're creating a diagonal score line at a 45-degree angle. And then repeat this just on the other side, this time connecting the crossing point with the 4 centimeter mark we made before. So in the end, we have two straight score lines, one mark and two diagonal ones. I think it's a bit hard to see on camera, isn't it? So let me just quickly trace it with a pencil so you can see it. Here we have this trident looking shape consisting of one straight and two diagonal score lines. And here's the long straight score line we did in the beginning. And this is how your full scoreline pattern should look like. However, the mechanism isn't finished yet. We still have to adjust it a little. So now we have to cut out this tiny rectangle built by the score lines. And now that that's done, we actually have to fold our score lines. We need to fold and burnish the long score line from the beginning, as well as the two diagonal ones. However, the straight 2 centimeter score line stays untouched. We don't have to fold this. This was more for guidance, similar to the 4 centimeter mark we made. And as always, make sure that you properly burnish all your folded score lines. This ensures that your mechanism will pop up and down smoothly later. It's easiest to do it with a bone fold, but you can also use your fingernails if you have strong ones. Once you've done all the folding and all the burnishing, your mechanism piece is finished. And it should now look something like this. All that's left to do now to make it work is to glue it inside your card base. So just cut, score, fold and burnish your card base. I'm using a standard dinner 6 card base here, but as I said before, you can use whatever card shape or size you like. You just have to adjust the length of your strip. Now to glue the mechanism to the card, just add glue to these two sections. The area below the long 1 centimeter score line and the very first triangle defined by the edge of the strip, the first diagonal score line and the cut-off rectangle. And I just like to smudge out all the glue a little with my finger just to prevent it from spilling over later. And now we can finally glue down our mechanism to the card. To position it correctly, align the edge of the cut-off rectangle with the score line of the card base. Then fold over the whole trident part along the second diagonal score line. Flatten everything out and then close your card. Now firmly press down the card over the area where the mechanism is inside. I'm always a little paranoid with this, so I press it down as long as I can just to make sure that everything really stays in place. And once you think you've pressed it down enough and the glue has dried, you can open your card and check if it's working. And this one seems to work perfectly well, just as it should. Okay, and now to decorating the mechanism. For that, I'm using this month's Altenew Mini Delight. I honestly love all of the Mini Delights, but just let me explain for those of you who are not familiar with these. So the Altenew Mini Delights are always a set of cutting dies and stamps. They are very often coordinating, but if they are not coordinating, they are fitting together very well. The sets are always quite small, which is where the name Mini comes from, but they are always very affordable and you can make awesome cards with them. So if you're on a tight budget but still want to treat yourself a little with some new craft supplies, I definitely recommend checking those out. I will link this month's Mini Delight in my captions along with all the other Mini Delights for you to check out. This month's Mini Delight theme is Time to Celebrate. And I just couldn't wait to try it out. I mean, these little paper gifts are so cute. Just look at these tiny bow dies. If those are not adorable, I don't know what is. Of course, you can cut out all the pieces in whatever color you like. But to create a convincing 3D effect, I'd recommend to cut out the pieces of each gift in one tone, but in different shades. I decided on purple for the biggest gift and pink for the smaller ones. So here you can see I cut the front and the top part for the biggest gift in a light purple tone. and the base part of the gift in a very dark purple. So now when I glue both pieces together, it creates this 3D box effect where the light is coming from the top and the front, while the side part stays in the shadows and therefore stays darker. Short side note, this set is not designed after the keyhole mechanism, but for this one you really don't need it. All these pieces only fit together in a very specific way, so you won't have any trouble aligning them. Same with the biggest gift box, I cut out the base part of this smaller one in a darker pink and the top and front part in a lighter pink. I just love how you can create kind of fake dimension just by choosing different shades of your cardstock. But let me speed up the assembling process a little for you. Similar to the box bases, the ribbons that are wrapped around the gift boxes only fit on one specific box in one specific way. The little bows, however, you can mix and match as you like. And these are the final little paper gifts, and come on, they are super cute, aren't they? They are just perfect for birthday cards as well as Christmas cards, but I will also show you another option for a Christmas card in the end. So now that all my decor pieces are finished, I can get my pop-up card base back out. And all that I'm doing now is gluing my gifts to this little pop-up strip. I'm just adding a bit of glue to the bottom of each box, because all the boxes will hang over the upper edge of the strip and I don't want any glue on the upper part because it might glue down my card for good. And now I will just repeat this with the other boxes, so let me speed that up for you as well. Alright, now all the gift boxes are glued to the pop-up mechanism. So now when you open the card, there's a bunch of gifts popping up for you. I told you it's a really simple mechanism but with a great effect. And now for the front of the card. I'm getting out my stamp wheel with its sticky mat for this because I want my card cover to stay in place. It also helps me to position my stamps more easily. And as stamps, I'm using the stamp part of this month's Mini Delight. It includes a lot of celebratory sentiments like happy birthday, time to celebrate, a gift for you, something like that. As well as a large image of a blossoming branch, which I'm using now. And here you can see me being very indecisive about where to place it. But I finally decided on a position and then put down the cover part of my stamp wheel, pressed it down a little to make sure that the stamp sticks to it, and turned it around. Then I inked up the stamp nicely with some black ink. But I mean, that's also the great part about the stamp wheel. Even if you haven't inked it up properly, you can always go back and re-ink it and reposition it at the exact same place. Now you just turn your cover around again and press down your stamp. And honestly, I really don't know why I bother with pressing it down so firmly. Because again, it doesn't matter. If there are any mistakes, you can always go back. But as I said, I'm always a little bit paranoid, so just let me. And then I also took the same stamp again, repositioned it a little and stamped it down again. Now there aren't any stencils to color this image in, so you have to do some good old by hand coloring. And I'm using these Altenew acrylic markers for this. But you can of course use whatever colors you have at home. And if you also have this set of acrylic markers, you might think, but they don't have a fine tip, how do I intend to color in these really fine blossoms? And the answer is I don't, not properly anyways. So what I'm doing is just adding a few little color accents to the blossoms. I don't fill in all the blossoms in full, just a few tiny strokes of pink in each petal. And even though my boyfriend termed it bad childlike coloring, I still think it gives it a really cool artistic look. And I repeated the same thing with the leaves in green. Okay, and now that my card front has some color, there's only one thing missing. A sentiment. And I also chose one from the Mini Delight stamp set. A nice, clean and simple happy birthday. And this is actually another reason why I like this month Mini Delight so much. Because I really have a lot of Altenew stamp sets with beautiful sentiments. But so often I was just looking for a clean and simple happy birthday but could not find one. and then just ended up writing it by hand. But now I finally got my clean and simple happy birthday. But don't get me wrong, I still love all the other beautiful flowery sentiments from Altenew, but sometimes you just gotta stick to the basics, right? And especially with these intricate flower branches, I think this bold straight font of the happy birthday works just really well. So I just left it like that. I also quickly cleaned the sticky mat inside my stamp wheel, cause I accidentally stamped on it, but with a tiny spritz of water it went off right away. Then I got my card base back out, added a bit of glue to the center of my front. I don't dare to put it too close to the edges because my card cover is slightly smaller than the base. But to make up for the lack of glue along the edges, I took out the card cover that I've just created and put glue along the edges of that one. And as my professors always love to say, the rest is trivial. You just glue down your card cover to your card base. And since the cover is, as I said, a little smaller than my base, I'm trying to get an equal frame around it. But once I'm satisfied with the position, I'm just pressing it down firmly, just to make sure it stays in place. And then I also decided on the spot to add a little bit of sparkle, which the Altenew Stellar sequins are just perfect for. They come in a pack of 6 different sizes, so you can find the perfect size for your project. Or even mix and match all the sizes on one project, just as you please. To stick them to my card, I just distributed a few tiny drops of glue over the front, and then used my quilling needle to pick up each individual sequin and place it on one glue drop. And here's the final card with just a little bit of added sparkle. And when you open it, it reveals the paper gifts we made before, popping up for the recipient. And as I said in the beginning, you can use this with whatever products you have at home. The card front, of course, as well as the pop-up. But there's actually one other set of products in the Altenew July release, which would be just perfect for this mechanism. And it's this timeless lead die set. I think this is just so beautiful and elegant, and I originally intended to use this for this pop-up card. But I don't know, there's just something in me that prevents me from making Christmas cards in July. So I decided to use the Mini Delight instead and postponed this one for Christmas time. Oh, and it also comes with some beautiful Christmas sentiments, so I will definitely be using it later this year. Anyway, I really hope you liked today's pop-up mechanism. Let me know in the comments if you have already used it. I also hope you like the card I made with it. And as always, you will find all the products I used linked in my captions. So like and subscribe for more card ideas.